Welcome to each and every one of you. I am Reverend Karen Lewis, and it is my joy to be here. We are so blessed. We are so very, very blessed. I loved those readings that Jeff offered by Hafiz, and I feel filled up already, and we haven't even started with the message today. So welcome, welcome. This has been an amazing time for me to deepen into and prepare this talk on generosity. And I named the talk today, Alchemy of Generosity. Now, alchemy used to be a term that was the forerunner to chemistry. In the Middle Ages, people were very much interested in how to turn regular ore and metal into gold. And so it was all about how can we use tools to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And that is what the talk is about today. How can we use this tool, this idea of living a generous life, of being generous with all of that I am, all of what you are, and lift our lives, even during this time, and especially during this time? How can we lift our lives from the ordinary into the extraordinary? So that is the journey that we are going to go on today. So if this is your first time, if this is your regular time to be here with us on Sunday mornings, I invite you into this experience. And as often, I like to start by inviting everyone to rub your hands together, because it brings us into this now moment. Allow your arms to open wide, gather up all the good and place it into your heart. And ask yourself, where have I witnessed generosity this last week? Where have I witnessed a generous act? And I'm going to give us a minute, and I'm inviting you to actually say it out loud. Just say out loud the times when you noticed it. Perhaps it was someone letting you into traffic. Or maybe it was when the beloved really listened to you, heard you. Where did you notice generosity this last week? And so come back. With this simple exercise, you probably notice that that is not something we usually think about. Well, I knew I was giving a talk on generosity, so this whole week I have been focused on noticing generosity. And it was a great week at the New Vision Center to have this focus, because I've been so blessed, and we have been so blessed with so many generous acts of kindness. There was the one morning that I came into my office, and I found this on my desk. Guilt-free, no sugar chocolate. And with it came those 2 chocolate bars, which right now there's only one left of them. I'm just saying, I did eat one. And what I loved about this, if you notice there, it says, the milk chocolate is for Reverend Leslie and the dark chocolate for Reverend Karen. And you know what that means? That this person listened to one of the messages of Reverend Leslie, where she spoke about that she loves to receive chocolate, and she likes milk chocolate, and I like dark chocolate. So this person not only listened, but they moved on their inspiration to gift us with chocolate. I love that. And then we received a wonderful gift this week from Ken Casey. You might remember Ken, he and his husband, Ron Trunnell, moved to Oregon, And Ron was a practitioner with us, and he is actually back with us. He is one of our practitioners at large. So Ron and Ken, well, actually Ken, sent us a beautiful quilt. And I don't know, I hope that the camera can catch this beautiful quilt. It's called Namaste. And I would like to read the letter that Ken wrote with it. He says, "Dear Reverend Leslie and Reverend Karen, and soon to be Reverend Jeff, and members of New Vision Center for Spiritual Living." So this is for all of us. This gift is for all of us. He says, "Ron and I have always said that when we win the lottery, we are paying off the building for NVC. That hasn't happened yet, so I came up with something else. I give you Namaste. I created this quilt for the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum men's show this past year, knowing I would present it to the center when the show closed. And here is my artist's statement for the piece. There's love and peace present everywhere all the time. Sometimes it is easy to see or feel it, other times it can be very difficult. Our present time often seems tumultuous, but if we look hard enough, love and peace are there. This quilt has 7 translations of love and peace present. Can you find them?" Well, we are going to find a home for this beautiful quilt on our campus, and we'll invite everyone, once we are able to open again, to come back and find those 7 pieces, 7 statements of peace. Ken goes on and writes, "Throughout the years, I found love, peace, and the love of my life, Ron, all there at the New Vision Center. I've made friendships that will last at least a lifetime as we know it. I was given the gift of teaching our youth. My gratitude knows no bounds. I love and miss you all. Ken Casey." You see, that is walking out generosity. That is being inspired, having an impetus, and moving on with it. If it is a bar of chocolate, if it is creating a beautiful quilt, if it is writing a book, singing a song, dancing a dance, creating a beautiful, loving friendship. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says it so beautifully. He says, "We should allow the gifts of life to flow out to everything we touch, everyone we meet, every situation we contact. Then, wherever we go, every situation is blessed, every person is helped, every discord is harmonized without our even being conscious of it. Without us even being conscious that we are doing it." And that is what I think the blessing of this teaching is. It is the invitation that at some point for us to make a decision. Do I want to live a generous life? That's the question before us. Do I want to live a generous life? Do I want to give of myself in generous ways? It is a question that each of us has to find an answer for. And generosity is not just the money thing, although it is. It is a generous way of giving our financial good in the world. And as you know, we are currently in our season of joy, the summer of joy. So we are all looking at this, what's happening in the world, as much as we can through the filter of joy. And it has been working me for sure. And then next month, we are going to start to look at true prosperity. So we will be talking a lot about how can we be generous. But today, I really invite us to look at 7 different areas of where we can make a decision. Do I want to be generous in this area? So let's go through them. The first one is to be generous with words. Oh, nope. See, I already messed it up. Wonderful. The first one is to be generous with thoughts. Generous with thoughts. And here, I often think about, that's really the basis of our teaching, isn't it? Dr. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. So when I am asking myself, where could I be generous with my thoughts? What comes to mind is prayer for me. I pray a lot for a lot of people. And what we do when we pray is we put ourselves, first of all, into that place of full acknowledgement of the goodness of life. And then we elevate every person in it because we believe that there's only one. There's only one of us, made manifest in very different forms, and yet there's only one. So when I'm generous with my thoughts, I can place my attention on another without them even knowing and lift them up and know their wholeness. Even if I don't understand how they are showing up in the world. So where can we be generous with our thoughts? And then from that flows naturally a generosity with words. Words of affirmation. And we are so good at this, and this community is amazing at it. We receive text. I send text. We receive letters. Words of affirmation. You are doing a really great job. It is wonderful to notice that you see a challenge and you rise up and meet that challenge from a generous heart without asking, what can I get back from it? But just by giving words of affirmation. So that is an area where we can be generous. Another area where we can be generous is with money. Number 3, yes. And what's important here is the idea that when I prosper another, if I give to another, I am naturally prospered. Because that is the law of circulation. I cannot give from a place of generosity, of giving my good, without receiving it back. Because just as I make that motion, as I give, it opens our hearts to receive. That is not why we give, but that is a side effect of it. So where can I be more generous with my money? Where can I feel life wanting to express through me when I write a check to someone? And I mail it in when I do an auto pay. That sense of open-heartedness, Großzügigkeit, as we call that in German. That is what we're looking for, that feeling. And we can also, and especially have it with influence. We can be generous as we talk about another, as we connect someone, as we hear that somebody has a talent and we know somebody who might be able to help them get it to the world, as we make connection, as we talk with other people and bring them together, wanting to uplift everyone. The other ways we can be generous is with our time. With our time. We just had a new member, a new partnership class here at the New Vision Center, and 7 new partners said yes. And you know what I found fascinating? That we always invite partners. Part of stepping into partnership with the New Vision Center is that somebody agrees to serve on a service team. That's just part of, that's where we give, right? Because we know as we step up and serve, we are blessed in return. And what I found fascinating, that almost half of the people who signed up for this new partnership class sent me a note or sent someone here at the New Vision Center a note and said, I want to serve, and here's what I want to do. And it wasn't even part of those 15 service teams that we have. So there was the creativity and there was the willingness to give of their time outside of the structure that we have created here. I found that wonderful and fascinating. Where else can we be generous? Well, with our attention. With our attention. Take a moment. Think about the last time you talked to someone that had their whole attention on you. When nothing else mattered, where you were the most important person in the entire world. We remember that, don't we? We remember how that feels. And what is the biggest opponent to that? I wish I would have thought about bringing my cell phone here on the platform. I would pull it out. Because it is so challenging in this time where we feel so connected and people feel like they can get a hold of us all the time. It really, really takes a lot more effort to become and be in full attention to another. Just the other day, I went out and had dinner, and I was looking around and I was astounded how many people were on the phone while they were out having dinner with someone. Wow! Let's change that. Let's change that. I am making the commitment that when I'm going out to dinner, when I'm going out to lunch, when I am with someone, I will put my phone away. And I will give my whole attention to the person that is in front of me. And then last but not least, with stuff. You know, we all have stuff. We all have things that we have accumulated. It is a wonderful way to go through our things and ask ourselves, where can I give this? Not just the things we have grown out of or the things that don't look so good anymore, but the things that make our heart sing. How would that feel to share the things that make our heart sing? It reminds me one time, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was in ministerial school, and the first spring retreat that we had, there was a woman that I just got to meet, and she's now a Reverend Kirsten, and she had a beautiful scarf on. And I said, oh, I love that scarf. That looks so great. And she just took it off and gave it to me. And I did what we are trained to do, right? I said, oh, no, I couldn't do that. She said, oh, no, I just made an agreement with myself that for a whole month, every time when somebody pays a compliment to something, I will offer that as a gift. And so please accept this. And then I made the second mistake. I said, okay, I have a scarf in my room. I could get that one and we could exchange. She said, no. I just want to give. And finally, I said, thank you. I still have that scarf. It makes my face light up every time I wear it because it is imbued with generosity. So those are the 7 areas that I want us to focus on. Ways we can give generously. This week, as I often do, I researched it, and I came across a whole organization that was founded by Brad Forsman, and he discovered, and he has been studying for 13 years, what generosity does in people's life. he started this whole organization, I Like to Give. What a great name, I Like to Give. He shared that when he was working with people, he would collect stories how generosity has changed people's mind. A producer approached him and said, I would love to produce short films to show these stories that you discovered. And I thought it was a fascinating way of sharing Evelyn's story. So we're going to watch this short clip, this short film. It's about 3.5 minutes of Evelyn. Here we go.
How old are you?
97. I'll be 98 in October. I live in a retirement community. And we used to have a bus here to take people to the grocery store twice a week. And they gave that bus up, I don't know why. So a lot of people were stuck around here. Like my neighbor Joyce, who was a very shy person. She said to me, well, if they don't get another bus, they'll find another place for me to live. And she said, I just don't want to go anywhere else. I said, Joyce, I'll get you to the grocery store every week. But I lost my driver's license because somebody thought I was too old. But I didn't have a mark against me at all. I was heartbroken at that. I really was. It made me feel old. It made me feel useless. I am a good driver. I really am. I'm not fearful when I drive, but I'm very careful.
You're a hot rodder?
No.
Drag race a lot?
Well, I drive 65, but I obey the rules, so I went to get it back. You make a promise, it's important for me to keep that promise if it's possible. And I passed it. I'm on the earth, I'm here. If I can contribute, I should. Shouldn't we all? And not just think of ourselves. It's supposed to get real cold. Like I say, I don't have money to give, but I can give myself and my time. A lot of people in the world who don't have anybody who cares about them. So that's the way I felt. We're asked to love our neighbor, be a friend. That will give you joy. I mean, I don't do this so you think I'm great. I don't even think of that. My daughter says, Mother, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I'll say, well, okay. And like I say, I do what I please. I wouldn't do anything dangerous, but, you know. How about a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea and a muffin?
Would you like to have a cup of tea or a muffin? I just love Evelyn. Isn't this amazing? Here's a woman, she's 97 when she made this, when she made the decision to go get her driver's license back. And what I love about this is, I don't know if you noticed, but in the beginning, she said that they stopped offering this service, and she said, I don't know why. And there wasn't any blaming. There wasn't any, they should have done this differently. She just took it upon herself to make a difference. To make a difference. And I love that she has no qualms about it. She just goes and gets her driver's license. And she also doesn't aspire to create this whole big machine that takes all of the seniors in her complex, right? It's one person. One person. I love that. All of this made me think about how can I pull all of this together? And for me, to live a generous life is also to interpret life generously. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when things happen to us, when a situation happens, when something happens, to be willing to interpret it in the most generous way. If somebody is approaching me with anger, to think about, well, they might have a bad day. Something might have happened to them. It has nothing to do with me. It always reminds me, Reverend Dr. Michelle Madrano used to say, we are meaning-making machines, right? Something happens over here, and whatever is going on within me, I interpret that a certain way. Well, generosity for me is the willingness to interpret it generously, to see it in light, to see it in understanding, to see it with compassion. That is what I think this invitation is. To see whatever happens from a place of generous interpretation. I have a couple more slides. I love that. Mother Teresa says, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. And that's what Evelyn did, right? She didn't inspire to take care of 100 residents there at her retirement home, but that one person caused her to step in. And so where are we invited to step in? Where can we make a difference? Each one of us. The Buddha is credited with saying that a spiritual life has to come from a generous heart. And this generosity has to include that we are fully blessed, that we have access to the allness of life. Just like what we say in our teaching. There's one life, there's one power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And there's Walt Whitman, of course, who said, "Behold, I do not give lectures or a little charity. When I give myself. I give myself. I give all of me." And so this brings me to my invitation this week. Where can you give all of yourself? All of your love, all of your attention, all of your loving kindness, all of the money that you have earmarked to give. Where is it for you? The invitation is that we become very conscious of it, and 3 times this week, this coming week, we give from that place of a generous heart without expecting anything back. It might be chocolate, it might be a beautiful quilt, it might be a song, it might be a note, it might be words of affirmation. Give yourself the gift of using this wonderful tool of generosity to turn your life from the ordinary into the extraordinary, one generous act at a time. I am so glad you are on this journey with me. And so it is. And so let's anchor it in prayer, because that's what we do when we are generous with our thoughts. I invite all of the practitioners of this teaching, the ministers, just rise, stand. Everyone who wants to take a stand for generosity, just rise up. And let us together affirm the allness of life. The realization that there is one power, the realization that it is everywhere. It is in the blade of grass, in the mighty oak tree, in every person, if I know them or not, in every sentient being. The divine spark is everywhere present. It shows up today as love, as peace, as harmony. It is making itself known as generosity, as beautiful words, as paintings, as art, as nature. So as we allow ourselves to be filled up, we step into it fully. And it is from this place that I speak my word. I speak a word of deep knowingness that all is truly well. That God is, we are, I am. This invitation to open up to the gifts of life and to share them with the world. And to trust that there's more than enough to give. And so as we become aware of the vessel that we are, doing this lifetime, doing this gift that we have received here, to be here. It's just so much gratitude that rises up naturally. And so I hold all of the prayer requests that are coming to the center, all of the prayer requests that are on our hearts. I hold them in the light, knowing that no prayer goes unanswered, knowing that the infinite love of the divine, the eternal loving kindness and graciousness of that will lift us all up. How very, very grateful I am to know this truth, to proclaim this truth, to live this truth, to share this truth with the world. And so we simply let it be. I let it go, knowing it is done. And so it is.